U.S. Indian policy used to assault freedom, expert says. Leading federal Indian policy expert Elaine Willman, shown, author of Going to Pieces, The Dismantling of the United States of America, told The New American in an exclusive in-studio interview that the Obama administration and federally funded tribal governments are colluding to assault the U.S. Constitution, property rights, and American liberties. She said the American people must wake up to the threat and take action. In the interview, Willman explains that all of the Indian policy problems she first exposed a decade ago in her pioneering book are now even more acute and that the information is more relevant than ever. Americans on or near Indian reservations, she said, are facing the brunt of the joint federal-tribal government assault on their property rights, water rights, and a broad range of other constitutionally guaranteed rights. There is a serious spread of tribalism as a governing system over non-tribal citizens in this country that folks in the urban areas and out on the coast maybe aren't familiar with, Willman said, adding that most Indian reservations are populated primarily by non-tribal members. But it is a very dangerous expansion going on now. Willman also touched on some of the issues covered in recent years in the New American magazine, such as the Obama EPA's radical decision to unilaterally place 9 Indian towns and 1.2 million acres in Wyoming within the newly expanded borders of a reservation there. The game that EPA and BLM and many federal agencies are playing now is called Catch Me If You Can, Willman said. They are not even following their own regulation, and it's up to somebody else to just defend themselves. One of the many problems she highlights is the fact that non-tribal Americans, who are not represented in federally funded tribal governments, are increasingly being ruled by tribal officials over whom they have no influence. In fact, these Americans cannot even attend tribal government meetings, much less vote for tribal officials, yet they are expected to be governed without representation. Willman also discussed the latest front in the joint tribal-state-federal attack on citizens, this one in Montana. The implications of the fight are so serious that Willman is moving to the area in an effort to defend liberty and the rights of besieged eastern Montanans, hundreds of thousands of whom are facing potential ruin if the plot is not stopped. She said the happenings illustrate perfectly how the federal government, using the pseudo-sovereign tribal governments it funds, is grabbing control over more and more land and resources. The tribal governments, she said, are being used as very willing pawns by the feds, and that many tribal members will be as harmed as non-tribal Americans by the machinations. The New American also spoke to Willman about fast accelerating United Nations meddling in U.S. Indian affairs, and how various tribal governments are being exploited by powerful forces to advance a deeply sinister agenda at odds with what America is supposed to represent. There seems to be a movement to just tear down the fabric of this country, she said. Willman, who is of Cherokee Indian ancestry, served as the chair of the Citizens Equal Rights Alliance from 2001 to 2007 until accepting the position of Director of Community Development and Tribal Affairs with the Village of Hobart in Wisconsin. She still serves on Sarah's board. Her husband is also an American Indian and a direct descendant of Sacagawea.